Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Get Hooked TV here, and today I'm at it again with another video for you guys. And this video is gonna be a little bit different. It's not like the other one where I've been fishing on the Salmon River, and thank you guys for the amount of views for that and sharing your support on that video. So this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my tips and tricks with the Cod Canal, the lures you should use, the tackle, the equipment, etc. So let's get right into it. So first thing I want to start with is equipment. So the reel that you want to use. So this is a Van Staal VS 200. Love this reel. It has a lot of drag on it. I got the knob over here so you could get a lot of leverage on a big fish, which is really important down at the canal. It's got the bailless feature on it, so you don't have to snap your lure on a cast sometimes. The drag sounds very nice, but the main thing for this reel is if you're fishing in the surf, you get sand on this reel, the sand doesn't bust your reel like other reels it does. So I fished this in the surf. I've swam with it a few times till like a rock, and this reel has never failed on me. You can see it's got a few scratches, but that's from use. And this thing packs a lot of line, heavy line. I normally pack this with 65-pound braid, and it is a total killer for the canal. Next thing I want to start with is a set of pliers. So these are just some regular pliers. Just get good quality pliers that could cut line, braid really well. These ones seem to cut really well too. And yeah, these are just really handy. It's got that pocket where if you're trying to unhook a big fish, you could just easily unhook it just like that. As you can see, it fits right in easily. I should talk about the rod. I'm not bringing the rod in here right now, but my rod is for the canal is a 10-foot Penn Squadron, rated 1 to 5 ounces. It's a little bit light for the canal, like jigging and all that, and like just bombing big lures out there, but I think it'll get the job done. But it's a great rod overall. So here are two lures I want to talk about right here. So over here, we got the Yowser Emag darter. It's a great lure if you're fishing the current. It works naturally like this. If the bass are on a normal profile of bunker and they are finicky, this lure could get the job done. The hooks are really nice in my opinion. I don't have to switch them to a VMC. Another one is if they are packed on adult bunkers, so that's when the big bass are in. The 3 hooks aren't really necessary for this lure, but it's if the bass are on big bunker, but mostly at the canal they're on mackerel, but if it's in the fall time there could be adult bunker down at the canal. It's got very nice hooks, VMC. It doesn't cast the best, but I think if they're in close to shore, then this lure could really do some damage. Up next we got the Super Strike little neck popper. This one is a sinking. And basically what this lure does is it casts very nicely, beats the wind. The action in my opinion is very nice. If you work it slowly at night, just crank it really slowly, then it could just swim like that, which is a very nice feature to this lure. I took the back hook off because the factory hooks are really small for the canal, so I put one hook down for releasing big fish, and it's a 6X strong VMC hook, and it gets the job done. Never failed on me. Very nice action. So a very important box I want to talk about is my swimmer box. This box is what does the most damage down at the canal. This is a box that is, without a box like this, you have a very small chance of catching nice fish on the canal. So here is the Daiwa SP Minnow and a mackerel. You can see I've had a couple bluefish hit this and bass, and this thing works well at night and in the morning especially, and this is just a total killer. The hooks I removed because they're not really nice, so I put them with VMC. And my opinion with this and a magic swimmer is this casts twice as further, not as heavy, and in my opinion better built, so if a big fish hits it, it won't like break it, because there has been bass breaking magic swimmers in half, I've been hearing. And this swimmer gets down a lot deeper, and the action is really nice. Not as good as the magic swimmer, but it gets you to the strike zone. As you can see, we got another SP minnow. This one I bought right after my last trip after the canal. It's a black one. It's, if you're fishing the new moon tides, then this one really does well. It's not black, well, it's like purplish and black, but when it's the new moon, bass are keyed in on dark stuff, so this lure really does the job. So you can see we got another SP here. It's very nice. Big, just as what I explained with the mackerel. You can see it's really, really destroyed. Just obliterated from bluefish and bass. Here is a blue mackerel SP minnow. Haven't really got the chance to use this one yet, but if you guys don't know, we've had the epic 2 weeks at the end of August on the canal, which is when I went, and it was just insanity. And the reason why I'm talking about this lure about that is because there were some pods of green mackerel, and we have pods of greenish and bluish mackerel. So these two definite killers on the canal, because that's what bass are mostly feeding on. And they got the right size as a mackerel. Perfect. Let's talk about magic swimmers. So this magic swimmer is in a mackerel pattern. It's very nice, very nice. And it works just like this, just like a real mackerel would. It's got the perfect colors as a mackerel, like pinkish, silverish, bluish, and greenish. In my opinion, the best color out of any lure of a mackerel intimidation you could find. It doesn't cast the best, but it could work the best and attract the biggest bass out of the bottom. Same one with white. White one is also very effective on the canal. I think white is probably, in my opinion, the best color to use. These ones are small because on the epic week, I've had a lot of big bass break on my SP, so we had to go over and buy the smaller ones because they were all sold out on how keyed in. They were on SPs and magic swimmers, so it was just pure insanity. This is just a snag. I don't really like to use this one, but if they are really, really into mackerel, they just ignore any lure, a snag, and you use a different rod. You put a bait holder hook on, and you'll just be catching way more fish than other guys do. So coming over to my popper box are just mackerel, more mackerel related. This is a Tsunami talking popper. This one has become a real favorite of mine. Much easier to use and work than a PK or a guppy in the canal current, because the current pushes the lure like that. So this one just works naturally really nicely. This one's in a little bit of a bluish, in case the mackerel, a little bit of a blue greenish pattern. So same thing here, very nice in a green. Just so you know, the Tsunami talking popper hooks aren't the best, so I recommend you switching them as with a VMC. Even on that week, they've been destroying VMC hooks. So this is a PK lure, a very, very nice lure. It's pretty difficult to work in the current, but this lure, as you can see, there's a PK right here. I painted this one in a mackerel. It was usually in a white. The reason why is because they all sold out on mackerel color. Any popper you could find, they all sold out on that week. So I wasn't able to find any in August because there was so much mackerel in the canal and people just bought them all. So painted this one. Still caught many fish on this one, even in the middle of the day when bass were finicky. Same thing with the guppy. It was white. painted it to a mackerel because, you know, people really like the mackerel color. And this lure just shines, beats the wind, and just casts a mile, like more than halfway with the right equipment and gear if you got. So this and the PKs and the and that mackerel Tsunami popper. Those are my go-to poppers. Oops. This is a Super Strike little neck, another one, but this one's a floater. So if you really want any attention on the splash, you could use this, jerk it really hard, and it'll just create just so much splash in the water. And it's just a killer lure. Redhead, didn't really find any big ones in the mackerel color, so I'll just keep it in this colorway because they also hit this one. And it also casts very, very far with the right equipment. Going over to my extras box is, I should have put this one in the swimmer box, but it's just so big it doesn't really fit that well. This is a stick shad. This is a very, very big profile lure. It's just about 5 or 5.5 ounces. It's just massive. It's got that mackerel pattern, and what's good about this one compared to the Magic Swimmer is that you can see that this one just moves around and this one's just a big one piece. The reason why is so it could cast like twice as far as this one, so it's very, very nice. And the hooks, I don't know, they're also not as good, but they're really big, so I'm gonna have to switch these ones out too. But this one also does very well at night. It doesn't work like this. It you can work it anyway. If you jerk it, it moves like that, basically like a jerk bait, or it just moves like that most of the time. So another one, this lure, in my opinion, is a dark time lure when I fish the full moon, is the Super Strike Darter, yellow. This lure, I remember I stayed at night, and I lost my jig, all my jigs, and I'm going to get to the jigs real quick after this one. And I lost my jig head, I switched to an SP. I've been crushing them at night, even on that mackerel SP in the green one. But then I got a little bored, so I went to this one, and then just started just every cast on this lure. I don't know if it's the actions, like natural with the current. The current was moving pretty hard, so that's why I switched to this one. Oh, by the way, this one is a colorful lure, and it's best used as like in a full moon when they're keyed in on like more colorful stuff. This is a pretty good daytime lure too, but I normally recommend this at night. We got another PK, but in white. Also very nice. This lure is a Super Strike bottle darter. Yeah, that really affects the fishing. It's in a black and like wine reddish. And I use this lure when it's a new moon, when they're keyed in a little bit more on darker lures, which is best. Hooks are really nice, the swivels are very nice. I don't have to change anything in this. This just makes a lot of noise, attracts big fish, and really gets the job done. North Bar, I heard, makes really nice bottle darters, so I gotta get into some of those. Jigs, I don't have any jig heads because I lost so many at the canal, either breaking me off or just getting them stuck on rocks. And this is from a Savage. It's from a small one because people bought all the big ones for the big fish. But this is very nice, but the only issue is that bullet head. It normally has like a bulleted head, and it gets stuck in the rocks way easier when it bounces, and it could get stuck way, way easier. One of my favorites are the Algag. Algags are basically my go-to jig. I lost the head too, but not as much as the Savage. And this one's in white. I had one in black for the new moon, and that thing just killed 35 pound fish. And the good thing about it is it has like a little bit of a thicker head, not like a needle head, and it doesn't get stuck as much. And another good thing is the diameter of the head. It goes like that way, and it swims like this when it's either going down, so it's got some action when it goes down too. Here's another one. I don't even know what this one's from. So now that we're done with lures, we could get to things that you want to carry in the canal. I normally carry a pretty, I'm gonna show you guys from down here, a pretty like decent sized bag, and I carry like boxes like these, the pipes, like pipes or whatever people carry like out at the surf, but the pipes I find are like so I like the boxes more. They fit more lures, way more, so you don't have to spend like $120. This is probably like a $15 setup. Not bad, very nice, a lot of pockets. So a thing I want to talk to you guys about is when you're fishing at night, we got something called slack tide. That's when the tide slows down and when the tide completely stops, and that's when eels come in handy. So basically one of my favorite things to do when it's slack tide to catch big fish, because eels are basically a gateway to big fish. Everyone says that. So I really like using the VMC live bait hooks. They're very, very strong. What I like is what I like is this hook. It's like more of a curved, and the barb is much bigger than a Gamakatsu. Mustads are nice too, but I kind of like the VMC more than a mustad. And the reason why you want the barb to be a little bit bigger is when you're casting a eel, don't be afraid to cast a big eel. Like if you think your rod's gonna break, then I don't even think. Just switch to a different rod, because you need a heavy rod for the canal. So when you're casting a big fish, you have to cast hard. Don't be afraid to cast it lightly, thinking the eel's gonna fall. Always trust your hooks. If you don't have the proper hooks, your eels are just gonna start flying off. So the bigger the barb, the more time that your eel will stay. Just slow retrieve. If you feel a couple of sharp taps, bring your rod down. If you feel more taps and then you feel the weight of the fish, then you just try to drive that hook into the bass's mouth, because their mouth is pretty rock solid, and you gotta get this hook into the mouth. That's the only way you'll land a big fish. Leader, what I recommend using is a Yowser 60-pound. This is a very, very rough leader. I've had even bluefish not being able to rip this leader. And the reason why leaders are very important down at the canal is because when you hook into a big fish like SPs or something that's like down a little deeper, or even a top water, but the most like part is for jigs, is when you hook into a fish, that fish will understand it's hooked, and it will just run or swim right for the rocks, and it will try to cut you off. So trust your leader too if you don't want to lose a big fish. Very important. Tactical angler clips, also very, very nice for the canal. Very important in my opinion. The reason why is because some guys like to tie direct because they don't trust them, whatever. I trust these 100%. These are 75-pound. These are 125-pound tactile angler clips. 25 pack, $11, completely worth it. The reason why I use these is if there's like a blitz they're keyed in on something, I don't want to miss out and just keep tying my lures and cutting them off and retying. Just this, unclip, clip, 3 seconds, you're good to go and you're in. Measuring tape, very important, because the legal, I think, is one fish per person at 28 inches. 28 inches, that's what I think it is. But I normally don't keep the fish, I just let them live. I usually have a knife, just in case if anything happens. This is probably a little bit of a mess, but sabikis are very important too if you want to use live mackerel. mackerel love sabikis. The only thing downside is when you hook into a mackerel, normally what people say is keep your mackerel in the water. There will be more mackerel coming in to help that mackerel, and they'll hook into more of these things. So I've seen people get like 7 mackerel at a time, 8 mackerel at a time, just because of that. The only downside is there are some times when you hook into a mackerel and it's like buddies just like start freaking out, and it ties your whole sabiki up, and you got a big issue. Pretty hefty weight you need to get it down a little bit. So yeah, well, that's about it for my Cape Cod Canal video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm just starting out. I'm going to be uploading fishing videos and tips and tricks every Monday or Tuesday, because I normally go out on Sundays or Saturdays. Depends, but every week, new video. Subscribe, stay tuned to my channel. Peace.